Isn't it kind of crazy how one simple key on your keyboard can cause you so many problems? Yep, you heard me. One key is causing you to lose a lot of your ranked games. Okay, maybe not all of your games, but it certainly is building bad habits and losing you a lot of gunfights. And despite what you think, it isn't your crouch key. Crouch spring isn't as bad as people say it is. While not ideal most of the time, it's actually your shift key that is the bigger culprit here. What people don't realize is that your shift key is a blessing and a curse. It's sort of like a big chocolate bar. Chocolate's great, but too much of it is bad for you. So today, I'm gonna show you guys why shift walking is losing you so many of your gunfights. So let's get started. Just a heads up, later in the video, we're going to break down some clips of pro players using what I'm about to teach you. But before we do that, I have to teach you those fundamentals, so stay tuned. Now let me keep this simple. A lot of you guys are still clearing angles like this, when you should be clearing them like this. If you don't see the problem here, let's imagine the scenario. You're an octagon, and you're sitting here holding an angle. You tell me, which of these people is harder to hit? The first player or the second? The answer should be obvious, the second. But with that being said, you might be typing this exact sentence in the comments right now. But Teets, I want to be quiet when I swing angles. I don't want to swing fast and be loud. The thing is, little Jimmy, is that you can be quiet. By pressing down on your A and D keys for just a brief second, you can quickly swing an angle without making any noise. I understand why you guys want to constantly be holding shift. You feel safe, no one can hear you, and you want to take the enemy team by surprise. The thing is that none of this sneaky stuff matters if your movement is horrible and you're lining up free headshots for the enemy. And don't get me wrong, you should definitely use your shift key in a bunch of different situations. Like, I can't stress enough how often my ranked teammates will rotate off a site while stomping around like a bunch of elephants. So if you're in a lower rank, you should record and watch back some of your gameplay and notice if you're shift walking into certain angles that you shouldn't be. And if you are, I highly suggest going into the practice range, hopping in this diffuse and spike scenario thing, and practice clearing your angles the right way. Once you're comfortable with that, hop into a deathmatch and practice some more. Then start implementing this in your ranked games. And since we're talking about practice, if you want to optimize it so that you're flying up the ladder, I highly recommend you check out our website. Our Radiant level coaches can help you cut the frustration, figure out what you're doing wrong, and put you on the right path. We're so confident that we can help you that we have a rank improvement guarantee, meaning if you don't rank up while actively using our service, you get your money back. This is literally a risk-free opportunity. So quit falling behind your competition and check us out at SkillCapped. We'll be waiting. Now with that out of the way, the two biggest times that you guys are going to use this skill are when you're either lurking, defaulting, or just trying to find kills. For example, let's say you're playing against a Killjoy, Cypher, or Chamber, and your sight hits aren't working. It'd be a good idea to slow the game down and try and break some of their utility, then go and try and hit a sight. But in order to do this effectively, you need to know how to clear your angles. You work your way up to their utility, break it, then back off as you now created holes in their defense that they need to pick up. Or let's say that your team is down in numbers and you want to even the odds. You need to know how to peek commonly played angles so you can help create these openings for your team. When you clear out so many angles, you start to get a good idea of where people are playing and where you're going to find these kills. This is also how you bait out utility and get people to stop turtling up on sites. You walk up so far to the point that the enemy is forced to use utility to hold you back. So if you ever end up playing against a comp that looks something like a Viper, Sage, Killjoy, and 2 other agents, you're going to have to slow down, poke and prod around the map, and bait out said utility. Or when you're lurking around the map, you want to make sure you're not just slow walking into people's crosshairs. Unless you're absolutely positive that the enemy team has rotated off, you want to be abusing that silent swing so that you can take anyone who's left playing on site off guard. There are simply too many situations where being able to swing like this is really useful. So, if you can't do this confidently yet, start practicing. So now that you're more familiar with swinging angles, it's important that you understand when the right times to shift walk are. Like in the example I mentioned before, you need to be mindful of where and how far the enemy team can hear you and when you need to be quiet. But for example, if your team just ran it up A main on Pearl, got stuffed by a Viper and need to rotate, you shouldn't be running away. Any enemies who are pushed up mid or into arc can hear you rotating out. If they do, they're just gonna feed this information to their team and you're gonna run into a stack wherever you end up going. And there's so many different situations where this applies in. Let's say that your team tried to slam A on Haven and got stalled out by a Brim Molly and some Sky Smokes. You guys collectively need to make a decision and decide either to rotate out silently, re-clear mid, or cut noise and re-hit. If you guys run away, enemies who decided to take mid control are going to hear you and call for rotates. So when you do go back to mid, you'll run into a stack. And this same thing goes for Icebox, Breeze, Fracture, and every map really. And before you head into the comments and type, "But Teets, I can't control my ring teammates," then they run all over the place. This isn't entirely true. In Immortal lobbies, my teammates still make these mistakes. So if they do run away, I'll tell them to walk back and re-hit the site. I get it that my teammates aren't ever going to be perfect, so you just have to work with what you have. Maybe you have the opposite problem, and your teammates don't run away, but sit around like a bunch of lost children. That's when you need to take charge and ask for something simple. Maybe like ask for a drone back out mid, a flash into another part of the map. Whatever it is, you have a microphone. Use it. If you really want to maximize the chances of your team winning the game, you need to be able to do things like this. Oh yeah, and another thing. Could you guys please be quiet when you're trying to clutch? How many times do I have to sit and spectate you bozos literally sprinting around in a 1v1? You guys do realize that the enemy can hear you, right? The issue with clutches is that a lot of people get panicked and forget that they have a lot more time than they realize. If they stomp around in these clutch situations, you're just feeding the enemy free information to outplay you with. This is how Hiko won this iconic clutch against Gambit Esports in Iceland.
Playing pretty tight here, Asuna. Able to clear out the
Sonar's up.
Live person not be able to spade space. Shadows good for one.
Eco
trades one out. Oh, just narrowly not able to get the second. He doesn't pitching in. He's able to get a second one. Hiko, 24 health, running for the fences. Is Chronicle has plenty of health. Chronicle on the tap. He's got to get
Pros don't fake.
He's got to get it to Hatfield.
Oh my
Hiko
God.
swings out. He gets 4. He gets the Red Bull clutch. 100 Thieves were down.
But if you use your shift key and try to figure out what your win condition is, you have a much higher chance of clutching up for your team. Now let's take a look at what this looks like in action. For our first example, we'll be watching Nats clutch up a 1 versus 3. Watch this.
What happened? Yeah. I feed.
Healer killed.
Oh my.
Like I mentioned, and Nats shows off here, when peeking angles, you never want to shift walk. Since he knows that one person is Switch, he swings out and destroys the Sage. Now comes the hard part. He needs to find out how the last 2 players are holding him and try and isolate his 1v1s. By using his A and D keys, he notices that no one's holding him towards defender spawn or near stairs. And like I mentioned, the more angles he clears like this, the less possible angles the enemy could be in. He finally swings out and kills the chamber, notices the Jet playing a bad high-low position, and he flicks to the Jet and wins his team the game. Now this was all made entirely possible from his solid mechanics and counter-strafing. In this example, we're going to watch pro player Xander clutch up a round for his team.
I'm guessing they're all gonna be like tunnel.
Spike planted. Good concealment. Last player standing. One enemy remaining. Pulling them in.
That was like an okay round.
Attackers.
After he plants a spike, he's in a 1 versus 4. What he needs to do right now is find his ones. He's not wandering around. He's confidently jiggling flank to try and hopefully find someone giving him an even fight. But as it turns out, 2 people were flanking. His constant movement made him a hard target to hit. Chamber whiffs, and Xander punishes. Then he just hits a really nice flick on the fade. But then, he tries to isolate a fight against the player in defender spawn. After realizing he can't finish the kill, he decides to back up and hopefully try and pick them apart. He doesn't run away. He's being silent, and when he moves back, is concentrating on using the wall, his quick strafes, and bad spacing from the enemies to his advantage. After he gets the kill, he doesn't panic when he gets smoked off, and he doesn't start running around like an elephant. He traces the smoke, goes inside it to confuse the Astra, but now he understands that she has to make the next move. And as a matter of fact, as soon as he hears her running, he swings out of the smoke, punishes her, and secures the 1v4. You guys need to notice how in these clips that I'm showing you, these players are barely using their shift keys when they're getting ready to take a fight. Doing so slows you down and makes you an easy target. Learning how to isolate each angle using A and D will win you so many more rounds. Now let's take a look at how some of you guys are trying to win your clutches.
Down A. One enemy remaining. Thirty seconds left.
I have the spike.
Nice.
So this Omen is in a 1v2 clutch. He starts by being quiet, and he punishes the enemy for trying to grab the orb. Now this next part made me want to lose my lunch. So time is running down for our Omen, but he needs to realize is that Sage could be literally anywhere around this A site. And by running like this, he's just asking to get punished. I mean, just look at the minimap and you'll see the radius in which Sage can hear him. Had he kept quiet, the enemy Sage would have to respect long and short as he had time to go down either one. Now, don't get me wrong, this is still a hard round to win. But Omen could have ran as he grabbed Spike and exited lobby and even went to B. But by running around and pre-firing random off angles, this should have been an easy round for Sage to win. Luckily though, she whiffs, then tries to swing the Omen and kill him when he was low on time and bullets. So yeah, that Sage is a bad player. And like I've said before, just because you won a round, that doesn't mean that you played it right. Better players will capitalize off your mistakes. Omen shouldn't have won this round. He got lucky, but he did hit his shots, so I have to give him props there. I know I'm being harsh, but I'm not doing it to be mean. I'm trying to point out as many mistakes as I can so that not only can he learn from it and win it again next time, but so you guys can learn from him as well. So with that being said, hopefully by now you guys understand why your shift key is losing you so many gunfights. If you just shift walk all over the place, you're setting yourself up to be an easy kill. And if you play against good players, they will punish you. So keep tapping those A and D keys and go bag yourself some sick clips. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below. It really does help us out. But before you do go, keep in mind that this is all just one of many in-depth guides that we have on our website. Also, if you do want a chance at having your VOD reviewed, be sure to subscribe on our website at SkillCapped.com. We also have tons of Radiant Smurf commentaries. We have Radiant players walking through exactly how to have the most impact possible in a bunch of different situations. It's also all backed by a rank improvement guarantee. And the reason we do this is because you're just that confident that our service works. And if it doesn't work, then why would you pay? So what are you waiting for? You got nothing to lose. Head on over to SkillCapped.com and get started on your way to that rank that you deserve. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm Teets, and we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.